I'm in Nitro, West Virginia. This is a small town of 6,300 people, and the population has been declining since 2020. No surprises there. And this small town ranks top 10 for most dangerous cities in West Virginia. It's 91% white and 2% black, and other than that, that's pretty much the population. The average age here is 45, which is a little on the older side, and 28% of the adults here are seniors, and that's really high. So how this city ranks as one of the worst, most dangerous cities in West Virginia, I don't even know, but it does. The population, the male-female ratio, which is common in cities that have higher crime, the male-female ratio is 46% male to 54% female. And for whatever reason, when you get these high crime cities, for whatever reason, the female population is much higher. And this is a huge difference. It's not usually this big of a difference, 46% to 54%. That's a huge one. The home ownership rate here is high too. It's 67% of the people that live here own their own home. It's a smaller town, so they probably don't have a lot of apartments and stuff like that, so that probably explains that. But typically places that have high home ownership rates, they don't have high crime. And so far it just looks like any other city you'd go to. Obviously we've been here for just like, you know, a couple minutes, and most of it was sitting at that light. So the average income here is $46,000, and again, that's actually pretty good, especially, you know, for a city with higher crime. It's got a 19% poverty rate, 53% marriage rate, which is really good, and 89% of the people that live here were born here. And 100%, they say 100% of the people that live in this town are native to the United States born citizens, which is crazy that there's no foreign born people living here, at least according to their stats. They don't really have a lot of homicides. They've had one, I think, in the last, it goes back to like 15 years, they had one. And their assault rates are in the 1 to 200s, which really isn't all that bad. You know, when you compare it to, you know, like even Chicago or any of the other cities, their assault rates will be in the 500s. You know, Baltimore would be in the 900s. So having a 1 to 200 assault rate isn't really all that bad. But their theft rate is really high. Their theft rate is their 3,200 to 3,500 pretty much every year. So that's really high. So that might be where it gets the crime might go up because of that. Because of the high theft rate. And their property crime and, you know, their small population is what makes their crime numbers as high as they are. Because there's just not a lot of people that live here, so you can't absorb any amount of crime when you only have 6,500 people. It's just, you just can't do it. The property crime is 106% higher than the national average, which is just higher than what I would consider regular city bad. I mean, it's a little worse than what regular city bad. Your odds of becoming a victim of a crime, 1 in 24. And their year-over-year crime increase is where things get interesting here. Their year-over-year crime increase is 23%, which is really high. The cost of living is better than the national average, and their housing prices are 38% lower than the national average, which explains why there's a 68% home ownership rate, because the housing is just that much cheaper. Whoops, hit the curb. as far as the schools go, there's one school in town, and 87% of the kids that go to that school graduate. 59% graduate reading at a 12th grade level, and 32% graduate being able to do math at a 12th grade level. And the state average for West Virginia is 33% for math, so they're right at the state average for math, and 42% for reading, so they're a little better than the state average for reading. But that's actually 59%. Most cities nowadays, the kids being able to graduate proficient at reading and math, any bad cities at least, are, I'm going to make a U-turn here because all these roads are dead ends. Typically, at least in the bad cities, it's 30 to 40% of the students graduating proficient at reading and math, or, some even as low as, the 20s and upper teens, or lower in some cases too, but typically there's not that many that are way down below, below the teens. So the city's actually doing pretty good as far as graduating students. I don't know, it says the top 10 worst. I should have looked up what West Virginia, for a state where that ranks amongst the states in the United States, because it's possible West Virginia is one of the safer states, and that's why a city like this makes it into their top 10 as far as most dangerous goes. Because even the stats that they have, I wouldn't consider this dangerous really at all. I mean, it's probably dangerous for a city of this size, for a small town, basically, is what this is. It's probably dangerous for that, in that regard. But as far as being dangerous, compared to any other cities, it's not really. So all I can guess is that West Virginia, as far as states go, is one of the safer states, across the board. Because I don't see, there's not even, that wall that we just passed, that it was a white wall, it was kind of dirty, doesn't look like anyone's really taking care of the wall, and there was no graffiti on it. And if this city was at all bad, like they're, when you rank it top 10, if it was at all bad, there would have been graffiti on that wall for sure. So I'm going to keep driving through the city. Those are all the stats I have for it. I'll drive through it till we clear the other side. But it's kind of like when I went through Montana, I'm looking at these cities and they're saying that they're bad, but in any other state, they'd be one of the best cities in the, bad for that state, but not bad at all. So this is Nitro. It's got kind of a cool name, but I don't see it. Even those houses don't look bad, like they're not all run down or anything. There's leaves on the ground, but it doesn't look like there's enough to cover up like garbage or anything. It looks relatively clean. There's some garbage there, but it looks clean. It's not, I don't know, but it ranks top 10 most dangerous. So I'm going to let this play out just a little bit longer and enjoy this drive through Nitro, West Virginia. Top 10 most dangerous city in the state of West Virginia. Oh, look, maybe this is what they're talking about. See that deer crossing sign? Maybe that's what makes it dangerous. People who are not abiding the deer crossing sign, and they're running into deers and ending up in accidents. That must be what's making it dangerous, because it doesn't look dangerous.